Hey everybody, how the hell are you? Welcome back to the Nerdy Jock Talk. I'm your host, the Nerdy Jock, Nick Angle, and we are on episode 3. Holy cow, this is amazing. Guys, what a weekend in sports. First, I want to start it off. My Friday night was one of the coolest nights I have actually had, and I'm going to give a shout out to two gentlemen. One, Mr. Julian and the other, Mr. Avery. These are two guys. I'm going to read out their Twitter bios to you. Julian McKenzie is an associate editor at The Athletic NHL, host of the Habs Inside Out podcast, co-host of the Water Boys, the Scrum podcast, Zone Time, and Yahoo Sports NHL. Avery, also a writer, Yahoo Sports NHL, one half of the host Brad and Avery Hour on YouTube and SoundCloud. I'm going to link their stuff in my description down below, their Twitter handles. Go check them out. These two gentlemen were having a discussion on Twitter Live, and I happened to pop on. They were talking about just the Leafs' ability to have historic meltdowns throughout history, the Boston incident, the Zamboni goalie, the Vancouver incident. Anyway, it was very interesting. I decided I was going to jump on, and I wanted to just say one thing, and then I was going to sort of sit back and listen. Funny enough, when I did jump on, and I'm talking to these two gentlemen who are clearly, they know what they're talking about. They're involved in the sport. I am just a guy with obviously 3 episodes of a show. And I gave my 2 cents. I was listening to them, and then my mute wouldn't go off. So I just started responding. Thank you very much, both of you. These gentlemen could have completely shut me out, and they didn't know me from Adam, and they just let me talk. So it was really cool. I just want to say a very big thank you to them. This is the first time I've actually gotten a chance to talk to 2 people that are in the industry, that are around this all the time, who write about it, who have way more education than I do in the subject. And they took my ideas. They didn't tell me I was crazy. It was a really cool discussion. A lot of things we actually align on. And they even gave me some things to think about as well. Julian in particular brought up 2 really interesting points. One, Patrick Marleau's Hall of Fame bid. Does he belong in the Hall of Fame? I mean, if you look at his stats and everything. And then 2, actually, and I hadn't thought about it before, Shea Weber. Does Shea Weber belong in the Hall of Fame? You guys let me know what you think down in the comments below. Throw it down there. Let me see what you guys think, and we'll sort of follow it up next episode. But I thought it was really cool of them to just sort of let me riff, as I do sometimes. I jump on these situations, and I can sometimes take them over, but I really tried hard not to, and I hope they do it again. I hope they let me back in and to chat, because that would be really awesome. So thank you again, guys. Okay, on to golf. First things first about golf. Brooks Henderson. Guys, I mean, the winningest Canadian golfer out there now, I believe, and just wanted to give her a quick shout out. Unbelievable what she's done, especially it's been a while. Just great shots in the end, and just a great story for Canada, and one I don't think that gets talked about enough. Maybe it does. I don't really hear about it, but I think it was just awesome to see it happen. Great on her. Okay, so this weekend, Saturday night, UFC 261. I understand if you aren't a huge fan of the fight game. I get it. The combat sports, it can be a bit much. But 3 championship belts that were up for grabs on Saturday night. It was unbelievable. 3 just unbelievable fights. Usman and Masvidal, just unreal. Just a really cool fight. Really interesting to see. Thug Rose, unbelievable to do what she did. And her ability to control basically a raging bull. I mean, it was the first time, like I said, I've really been interested in a UFC card. And of course, in Florida, of all places, with a packed stadium, 100% the fans definitely change how you're feeling about the fight and just the atmosphere in the room. I really think it just it changes the whole thing. Really interesting to see. Obviously, still being here in Canada with our quarantine, there's mixed emotions about it. But again, a really cool night, really good for the UFC. And I'm interested to see kind of what's going to happen from here. Into baseball, guys, when are we just going to say that the Dodgers and the Padres this year is can't miss baseball? It's unreal. Tatis Jr., I think 5 home runs for this series, maybe 6. I got to double check, but unbelievable. And I got to give credit to Trevor Bauer. Says what he's thinking, has no problem sort of being boisterous and being, out there and yelling at people, but is willing to take it, or at least that's what it seems like, where he's okay with the celebration of Tatis Jr. And I think really awesome on his part, because quite frankly, this idea that pitchers are somehow upset when a guy flips a bat because he's pumped that he just crushed a ball 400 feet and then they throw it the next guy. Guys, I don't know about you, but if I'm playing baseball and somebody throws a baseball at me, I'm going to the mound with a bat in my hand, quite frankly, and I'm taking their knees out. Because these baseballs, they hit you in the head in the right spot, they're going to kill you. Really cool, at least on him, that he's okay with it. But then at the same time, too, batters got to be okay with a pitcher being pumped up for striking them out as well. So it's a give and take thing. I hope that this, evolves into something that's going to change in Major League Baseball, because I'm a little bit tired of the, just act like you've been there before. Man, it's hard to hit a baseball. Guys who are hitting 300 are great hitters. That means you're failing 70% of the time. Okay? It's hard to hit a baseball. I want to see guys excited when they hit the baseball. So I really hope it's something that continues forward, because it makes the fans experience even better. On to the NHL. Oh man. Montreal has really done a pretty good job of trying to give away final playoff spot in the North Division, but I'm not going to let them do it. I'm going to rub Koivu here. The power of Koivu compels you. The power of Koivu compels you to not screw this up. Please and thank you. It's a little bit stressful. I get the temple rubbing when I'm watching these games now. I know that they're not a great team, because I also know that it's not a great division. I mean, this weekend also solidified the fact that Toronto is the best team in this division. Well done. Thanks for coming out. Like, we knew that going in. I think some things maybe surprised us a little bit in this division, but not really. It's a bad division, and everybody else is talking about it except in Toronto, which is, I find hilarious, but I digress. In other news in the NHL, the Pittsburgh Penguins are now in first place in their division. Where the hell did that come from? Yeah, they're doing it. And in a division that's pretty tough. They've got some really good competition there, and they're doing a hell of a job. So we'll see how that lines up. I'm interested to see how the whole playoff picture works, because I don't know if we actually fully understand who's going against who, but I believe that Pittsburgh division is the one that's lined up to go against the North, maybe. So we'll see. That's a killer division. And those two series that are going to happen in there, whew, man, somebody is not walking out of that one with a full deck, that's for sure. Also in the NHL, Dallas and the Red Wings game. Did anyone catch this? At one point, I believe that Dallas had 36 shots to like 3, and they were losing 1-0. What the hell happened in this game? Just the stat line alone would lead you to believe that the shooting gallery? I mean, Jonathan Bernier, Lord bless you, Jesus, I think he's 50-something odd shots by the end of that game. Holy cow. Look, at the end of the day, you got to have a goalie, right? And I believe the Red Wings end up losing that game in overtime. Just well done to even get a point out of that. It is what it is, I guess, though. Really quickly to NBA news. With the Raptors and this sort of last-minute push for the playoffs, because they're not in the city, you almost don't care as much. And I'm thinking, could this not be actually a good thing for them to not be in the city while all this stuff is going on? I mean, if they were in the city, I actually would think that has to equate to a couple of games, that you win instead of lose, with some of those really close games that they did have. I would think that maybe this year, if they do miss the playoffs, I think that's actually a good thing, and maybe get a bit of a better draft pick and start building back up, because we had this great run. But I think we need to sort of not rebuild, but retool. And I think some really good draft picks might really help that. Okay, this weekend also marked the final episode, the season finale, if you will, of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Guys, I mean, I love this show. It is so great, so fantastic to see Marvel continuing these stories in more of a show format. I would like more episodes, don't get me wrong, and I would like maybe longer episodes. I had that same complaint with The Mandalorian, and even the WandaVision, which I thought was great as well. This show, obviously a little different, a little bit more of social awareness, social issues that happen in this show. I want to say, though, I think the show did such a great job at tackling them and really showing the diversity that I think is needed in today's world, but also the poverty and the people that were displaced, and how governments really do need to step up and step in, and how they can help, and all of these great issues, and really just breaks it down to right and wrong. I just love how they broke it down to just a simple thing. It's right or it's wrong. And that's it. And it's such a great show. And I think Marvel's doing a great job. I haven't heard anything about season 2 yet, though, which has me a little bit concerned. I mean, Marvel is genuinely pretty secretive. So, we'll see. We'll see how it all goes down. I'm sure they're going to do another one. I can't see how they don't, just the way they left it. So we'll see. Also in show news, I don't know if you guys are watching this, but on Prime, Invincible. I believe it was a graphic novel. Such a great show. Great voice actors. You'd know them when you hear them. It's a great concept. It's different. It's new. And I think it's executed so well. I like the fact that it's one episode every week, and it just keeps building and building and building and just getting more intense and more intense. And I just find myself every time I sit down, I can't top the last episode. And then I just sit there and I'm like, yeah, it did. It did. It totally did. It's just been unreal. Such a cool show. And I want more of it. I want more of it. I need more of it. It's got to keep going. It's fantastic. It's such a great show. Okay, so we're going to get to our game of the week. The game of the week actually is also going to kickstart a little segment I like to call the Dynasty segment that I'm going to do. And we're going to talk Dynasty not only in sports, but Dynasty in board games and video games and things like that as well. Just a little, little snippets and things like that. We'll do a little bit more of a deep dive. But this game this week, I know I'm going to bring it out on my table probably this weekend, is Catan. If you haven't played it, missing out. This is such a great game. And I think more than anything, it was a gateway game for a lot of people, especially for me, into other board games because it's designed so well. It's a beautiful looking game. The mechanics are very easy to understand. The rules are very simple to understand. It's fantastic. It's got a bunch of expansions that they've built on top of the concept of this game, and they go further, and I'll bring those out when we do that segment on it. But the game itself is absolutely wonderful. If you haven't played it, please pick it up. Check it out. It's fantastic. Like I said, it's a gateway game into a bunch of different. So I guess buy with caution is the best thing I can tell you, because I have already bought a bunch of the expansions. And if you really want to nerd it up a little bit more like I do, then you go with the Catan, but you go with the Star Trek Catan. That's right. It's a thing. Star Trek Catan, to boldly go where no man has gone before. It is the original Star Trek crew, as you can see the original Enterprise down here. What makes this game different from the original? There are a couple of differences. It takes obviously place in space. It's not sort of landmass. It's planets that you get different resources from. Your little roads are actually little starships. You have starship bases, all that kind of stuff. But what I think is really cool is the fact that you actually have cards that help you in the game. And those cards are actually crew members. Yeah, I said it. They're crew members. You've got Montgomery Scott. Can't do it, Jim. I don't have the power. You've got Uhura, Hikaru Sulu, Spock, Mr. Leonard McCoy. God damn it, Jim. I'm a doctor, not a road builder. And obviously, James T. Kirk. Such a fantastic little game. And because it adds that element of the cards, it sort of changes up the dynamic of it. And I love the fact that, it's the original crew. And it's awesome. And I used to watch this on weekends with my stepdad. That's when I first really got into the original Star Trek. And then Star Trek Next Generation from there. Deep Space Nine, Voyager, all that stuff. It was awesome. So we'll get into that as well when we get into the other series, but I wanted to bring that to you guys. I absolutely love that game. And if you're a Star Trek fan, I mean, it's a must. You got to have it. You got to play it. It's fantastic. That's it, guys. That's our show for today. I'm so thankful for you guys to be around. Please like and subscribe, guys. Hit that like button. It helps me out so much. Just trying to grow this channel. It just gets more eyeballs on it. Hit the subscribe button as well if you can, and you'll be the first to know of new content. And then just share this thing around and let's keep it going. So Thank you again so much, guys. And remember, it is always game time. Let's go, baby!